The hidden power of the millionaire mind. What 99% ignore. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly, while others struggle their entire lives despite working harder, studying more, and doing everything right? What if I told you that the secret isn't in effort, luck, or even intelligence, but in a silent power that only a few truly understand? A power that operates within your own mind? This video is about that power, the hidden dimension of the millionaire mindset that 99% of people completely ignore. Because here's the truth: success is not just about money, it's about energy, it's about alignment, it's about knowing how to think, feel, and act in ways that attract abundance naturally, like a magnet. The greatest millionaires on earth, from Elon Musk to Oprah Winfrey, from Steve Jobs to Sarah Blakely, all discovered one thing in common: wealth follows mindset. And yet, most people miss it. They chase tactics, shortcuts, or trends, believing that success is outside of them, when in reality, it has always been within. That's what we're going to explore together in this video. Not the surface-level secrets of getting rich, but the deep, hidden patterns that condition your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs to manifest prosperity in every area of life. So, if you're ready to stop surviving and start creating, if you're ready to unlock the exact mental frequencies that the 1% use to multiply opportunities and attract wealth effortlessly, stay until the end. Because what you'll discover here can completely reprogram the way you think about money, success, and who you truly are. Let's begin. Topic 1. The invisible blueprint of wealth. Every millionaire you've ever heard of, from Elon Musk to Oprah Winfrey, from Warren Buffett to Sarah Blakely, has something in common that most people can't see. It's not a degree, not luck, not family connections. It's an invisible architecture, a mental operating system that quietly runs in the background of their lives, guiding their every choice, every risk, every instinct. This is what I call the wealth blueprint. And whether you realize it or not, you already have one too. The question is, what is it programmed for? Expansion or limitation? Growth or survival? You see, every belief you hold about money, success, and possibility was written long before you were even aware of it. Since childhood, you absorbed patterns from your parents, teachers, and culture. The way they talked about wealth, the emotions they expressed when paying bills, the stories they told about rich people. Maybe you heard phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "You have to work twice as hard to get by," or "People with money change." These words, repeated over time, didn't just describe reality. They created it inside your subconscious mind. They became your default settings, the inner code that decides how much prosperity you allow yourself to experience. Now, contrast that programming with someone like Warren Buffett. As a child, he was fascinated by the idea of value, compounding, and growth. He didn't see money as scarce. He saw it as a game of patterns and probabilities. His beliefs were wired around curiosity and long-term thinking, not fear or limitation. When most people save out of anxiety, Buffett invested out of vision. That single shift, from fear-based to opportunity-based thinking, turned him into one of the wealthiest people on the planet. His outer wealth was just the natural consequence of an inner frequency tuned to abundance. The truth is, the difference between the 99% and the 1% has very little to do with intelligence, education, or effort. It's about programming. The average person has been trained to survive. The millionaire mind has been trained to create. When you think like a millionaire, you don't see money as a limited resource to be hoarded or chased. You see it as energy, something that flows through ideas, value, and contribution. The more aligned your thoughts are with that flow, the easier it becomes to attract and multiply opportunities. Imagine your mind as a radio transmitter. If you tune to the frequency of scarcity, fear, doubt, jealousy, or comparison, that's all you'll ever pick up. You'll attract people, situations, and results that match that vibration. But when you shift your inner frequency to abundance, gratitude, vision, trust, and certainty, suddenly the entire world starts to look different. You begin to notice possibilities that were invisible before. The right people call, the right ideas appear, the right timing unfolds. It's not coincidence, it's coherence. Elon Musk once said, "I don't believe in luck. I believe in probabilities." That single line reveals everything about the millionaire mind. People like Musk don't rely on chance. They rely on mental calibration, a deep trust in their capacity to turn vision into reality through focus, consistency, and aligned action. They don't waste energy worrying about what could go wrong. They direct energy into what will go right. They are constantly programming their inner blueprint to expect success. And because of that, they see opportunities where others see obstacles. But here's the part most people miss. Your wealth blueprint isn't permanent. It's not written in stone. It's written in neurons. And neurons can be rewired. Every time you visualize abundance, every time you act from faith instead of fear, every time you affirm your worth instead of doubting it, you're literally reshaping the architecture of your brain. Neuroscience now confirms what mystics have said for centuries. The brain doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. When you imagine vividly and emotionally, your subconscious accepts that experience as truth. That's why visualization, meditation, and gratitude are not just spiritual trends. They're neurobiological tools to upgrade your mental software. Oprah Winfrey understood this long before it became mainstream science. She has often said that she never imagined herself getting rich. She imagined herself being used by something greater, a vision, a purpose, a calling. Her focus wasn't money, it was meaning. And because her frequency aligned with contribution, prosperity followed effortlessly. That's the paradox of abundance. The moment you stop chasing it and start being it, you become magnetic to it. If you want to know what your current wealth blueprint looks like, just look at your life. Your bank account, your relationships, your health, they are mirrors reflecting your dominant beliefs. If your mind is filled with scarcity, your results will always echo that limitation. But the moment you rewrite your story, the moment you decide that money is not a symbol of greed, but a reflection of value and growth, everything changes. You begin to think differently, feel differently, and attract differently. This process is not about thinking positive and pretending everything is fine. It's about becoming conscious of the unconscious, bringing awareness to the beliefs that have silently ruled your life. Ask yourself, what do I really believe about wealth? Do I believe it's possible for me? Do I believe it's spiritual, fair, and expansive? Or do I secretly carry guilt, fear, or shame around it? Because your beliefs are the architects of your destiny. Once you realize that wealth isn't external, it's internal, you start playing a completely different game. You stop fighting for money and start aligning with it. You stop asking, how can I get? And start asking, how can I grow? And the moment that shift happens, money becomes a byproduct of your personal evolution. You stop chasing it, and it starts chasing you. That's why people with the millionaire mind can lose everything and rebuild it again. Because their wealth was never in the bank. It was in their blueprint. They understand that prosperity begins in consciousness. The outer results are simply echoes of an inner transformation. So, if you truly want to activate the hidden power of your own millionaire mind, start here. Look inward. Redefine what wealth means to you. Reprogram your thoughts from survival to creation. Reconnect with gratitude, clarity, and vision. Because your reality is not something happening to you. It's something responding to you. And when your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs finally align with the frequency of abundance, you'll notice something magical. Life begins to cooperate with you. Doors open where there were walls. Synchronicities replace struggle. And the world begins to mirror the power of the wealth you've cultivated within. Because in the end, money is never the goal. Consciousness is. Wealth is simply what happens when your mind and your energy are no longer at war with possibility. Topic 2. How emotion creates wealth. The neuroscience of prosperity. Every thought you think sends out an electrical signal. Every emotion you feel sends out a magnetic field. Together, they form the energetic frequency that determines what you attract, what you repel, and what you experience. Science calls it neuroplasticity and coherence. Spiritual masters call it vibration. Millionaires simply call it alignment. But the truth behind all those words is the same. Emotion is the language that programs your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is the factory that produces your financial reality. Let that sink in for a moment. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you feel. You can write goals, say affirmations, even visualize wealth, but if deep down you feel anxiety, guilt, or fear about money, your brain sends a mixed signal to the universe, one of desire and resistance at the same time. And that conflict is what keeps 99% of people stuck, frustrated, and wondering why success feels like running in circles. When scientists at the HeartMath Institute measured the electromagnetic field of the human heart, they discovered something astonishing. Your heart's field is up to 5,000 times stronger than the field produced by your brain. That means your emotions have exponentially more power than your thoughts to shape your external reality. And here's where it gets fascinating. When your emotions and thoughts are aligned, your brain enters a state of coherence, a measurable pattern of harmony that optimizes creativity, focus, and intuition. In that state, you literally become magnetic to opportunities. The wealthiest people on the planet understand this, even if they use different words for it. Take Richard Branson, for example. He doesn't approach business decisions purely with logic. He listens to his energy, his excitement. He has said multiple times that he only invests in things that feel right, because he knows emotion carries information that logic can't access. That inner excitement, that spark of joy or curiosity, is the body's way of signaling alignment. When your energy is high, your perception widens. You see connections others miss. You hear ideas others dismiss. Emotion is not noise, it's guidance. But here's the paradox. Most people are emotionally bankrupt long before they're financially broke. They suppress joy, fear, passion, and gratitude. And in doing so, they disconnect from the creative intelligence that builds wealth. They chase results from a state of stress, and stress literally shuts down the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for innovation and strategic thinking. In other words, when you operate from fear, your brain literally becomes incapable of creating abundance. That's not a metaphor, it's neuroscience. Now, look at how the opposite happens in those who thrive. Oprah Winfrey, again, is a perfect example. She begins every meeting by centering herself emotionally. She once said, "Before we begin, let's make sure we're all clear on the intention." That single ritual aligns emotion and thought, heart and mind. When she speaks, she doesn't just communicate information, she transmits vibration. You can feel it. That's why her presence commands attention, why people say she glows, because she radiates coherence. Emotionally coherent people attract coherent realities. You might wonder, how do I cultivate that? The answer begins with awareness. You must start noticing what emotions dominate your inner world when you think about money. Do you feel excitement or tension? Gratitude or pressure? Possibility or doubt? Because your emotional state is the compass that tells you whether your thoughts are aligned with abundance or with lack. When you feel expansive, open, and inspired, you're in resonance with prosperity. When you feel anxious, heavy, or rushed, you're resisting it. Tony Robbins often says, "Emotion is energy in motion." And he's right. But few understand the full implication of that phrase. Every emotion is a frequency. Gratitude vibrates differently from frustration. Confidence vibrates differently from self-doubt. The wealth mindset is not just about thinking positively. It's about feeling richly, acting boldly, and trusting deeply. It's about training your emotional body to stay calm and grateful even when circumstances don't yet match your vision. That's emotional mastery, the signature of every self-made millionaire. Steve Jobs embodied that mastery in a fascinating way. When he created the first iPhone, people said it was impossible. Competitors laughed. Engineers panicked. But Jobs didn't operate from fear. He operated from an almost mystical sense of certainty. He visualized the future with such emotional clarity that his energy infected everyone around him. His teams weren't just following a leader, they were resonating with his belief. That's how great fortunes are made. Not through spreadsheets, but through the emotional power of conviction. Your emotions are the signal your subconscious uses to decide what's safe. If wealth is emotionally associated with stress, greed, or loss, your subconscious will block it. If it's associated with joy, freedom, and purpose, your subconscious will attract it. That's why it's not enough to visualize money. You must feel good about money. You must train your nervous system to associate prosperity with peace, contribution, and expansion. One simple practice can start this rewiring immediately. Gratitude. Gratitude is the emotional gateway to abundance. When you focus on what's working, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals that make you feel rewarded. This creates a positive feedback loop that conditions your brain to expect more good things. It's not spiritual fluff. It's biological reprogramming. Every time you say thank you with genuine emotion, you're literally reshaping your neural pathways toward prosperity. That's why many of the world's most successful entrepreneurs, from Jeff Bezos to Sarah Blakely, talk about gratitude as part of their morning routines. It's not superstition, it's science-backed success. When your nervous system is calm and grateful, your decisions become wiser, your creativity sharpens, and your resilience multiplies. You stop reacting from fear and start responding from power. The real secret, then, isn't to chase money, but to cultivate emotional alignment with wealth, to let your emotions rise to the same frequency as the life you desire. When you do that, the law of attraction is no longer a theory. It becomes your daily experience. You begin to meet the right people, attract the right timing, and notice how reality bends in your favor. Because you are no longer fighting the current of life. You're flowing with it. So ask yourself now, what emotion do I broadcast most of the time? Because the answer to that question reveals the quality of your future. The hidden power of the millionaire mind is not that it knows everything. It's that it feels deeply, trusts fully, and acts courageously even when logic says otherwise. Emotion is energy, energy is magnetism, and magnetism is wealth. When you master your emotions, you don't just change your mood, you change your magnetic field. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become the creator of your own economy. And that is how emotion becomes the bridge between thought and manifestation. Topic 3. The frequency of abundance. How to tune your mind to prosperity. Everything in the universe vibrates. Every atom, every thought, every emotion carries a specific frequency. You are not just a body moving through space. You are an electromagnetic field constantly sending and receiving information, and the quality of that signal determines the quality of your life. This is not just philosophy, it's quantum physics. The moment you begin to understand that you are both a transmitter and a receiver of energy, you realize that your thoughts are not passive. They are creative. They shape reality. And when you tune your inner frequency to abundance, prosperity begins to flow to you like metal filings to a magnet. That's why two people can live in the same city, work in the same industry, even have the same level of education. Yet one thrives while the other barely survives. The difference isn't opportunity, it's vibration. The one aligned with abundance sees potential everywhere. The other tuned to scarcity sees only obstacles. Your vibration filters your perception, and your perception determines your reality. Imagine for a moment that the universe is like a radio station broadcasting infinite possibilities. Every dream, every goal, every version of success you desire already exists as a frequency waiting to be tuned into. But if your internal dial is set to fear, guilt, or doubt, you'll never pick up the signal of abundance. Not because it isn't there, but because you're not tuned to it. That's what 99% of people ignore. They think manifestation is about forcing outcomes when, in truth, it's about resonance, becoming the energetic match to what you want. Take Oprah Winfrey as an example. She grew up in poverty, facing circumstances that could have easily tuned her frequency to despair. But instead, she chose gratitude. She chose belief. She began to align her thoughts and emotions with the vibration of abundance long before any physical wealth appeared. That alignment became the foundation of her empire. When she says, "You don't become what you want, you become what you believe," she's describing this exact principle. She tuned her energy to a higher frequency until reality had no choice but to adjust to her vibration. Neuroscience supports this idea through the concept of reticular activation. The brain's reticular activating system, RAS, filters billions of sensory inputs per second, deciding what's relevant and what's not. When you constantly focus on lack, your RAS highlights more scarcity. When you focus on abundance, it begins to show you proof of opportunities, coincidences, and possibilities. What you focus on expands because your brain literally reorganizes itself to match your dominant frequency. That's why the wealthiest people speak differently. They use words of expansion, not contraction. They say, "I'm investing," not "I'm spending." "I'm creating," not "I'm trying." Their language reinforces their vibration. But how do you change your own frequency when life feels hard, when bills are due, when you feel like you've tried everything and nothing moves? The first step is awareness. You can't shift what you can't sense. Start noticing how your energy feels when you think about money. Do you feel open and inspired or tight and worried? Your body will always tell you the truth. The second step is to consciously shift your state. Breathe deeply. Move your body. Speak affirmations with emotion, not robotic repetition. Imagine already living in the reality you desire. Feel it until it becomes real in your nervous system. That emotional rehearsal reprograms your frequency from wanting to having. Steve Jobs intuitively understood this. He used to walk barefoot in nature, meditate, and visualize new ideas not from stress, but from calm certainty. He once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward." That statement reflects deep, energetic trust, the kind that only comes when your vibration is set to faith, not fear. When you live in alignment, you stop needing to control every detail. You start trusting timing. You stop chasing and start attracting. Companies and leaders who operate from abundance frequency innovate differently. Think of Google's early motto, "Focus on the user, and all else will follow." That's abundance thinking, prioritizing value over fear. It's the understanding that when you give more, you attract more. Money, ideas, and collaboration flow toward generosity. That's why scarcity-based businesses crumble under pressure, while abundance-based ones expand through uncertainty. The energy behind intention always determines the outcome. And here's the most overlooked truth. You can't fake frequency. You might say the right affirmations, but if your energy says, "I don't believe this," the universe responds to the vibration, not the words. That's why emotional congruence is so important. You must feel abundant before you see abundance. You must embody the emotion of already being prosperous, even when external results haven't shown up yet. That's not delusion, that's creation. Every manifestation begins as an internal vibration that eventually crystallizes into form. Think about Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. She became the youngest self-made female billionaire not because she had resources, but because she maintained a high vibration of belief and joy even when everyone doubted her. She visualized her success so vividly that when opportunities came, she was ready to receive them. She tuned her frequency daily with gratitude, laughter, and focus. That energetic consistency turned an idea into an empire. The great irony is that people often wait for success to feel abundant, but the truth is reversed. You must feel abundant first. The feeling creates the experience. Every emotion you cultivate becomes a magnet for matching realities. If you wake up every morning complaining about what's missing, you're broadcasting lack. But if you wake up grateful for what you have and excited for what's coming, you're broadcasting expansion. Even in physics, resonance is real. When two tuning forks vibrate at the same frequency, one begins to vibrate just by being near the other. The same happens in life. When your vibration matches abundance, life starts echoing your energy back. That's why successful people seem to attract more success. They've become resonant with the field of abundance. So, what's your frequency right now? Do you think in terms of possibilities or problems? Do you feel joy when someone else succeeds? Or do you feel envy? Every reaction is a signal. Every emotion either aligns you with wealth or distances you from it. You can't pretend your way into abundance, but you can practice your way into it. Start small. Align with gratitude every day. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Speak with faith instead of doubt. Each moment of alignment raises your frequency, and as your energy rises, your external world begins to rearrange itself in ways that feel miraculous. The universe doesn't respond to effort. It responds to energy. The more coherent, calm, and grateful your energy becomes, the faster prosperity finds its way to you. Because in the end, wealth isn't something you pursue. It's something you tune into. When your mind, heart, and actions vibrate in harmony with abundance, you stop searching for miracles and start realizing that you are the miracle. That is the true frequency of abundance. And once you learn to hold it, your entire reality begins to sing in tune with prosperity. Topic 4. Reprogramming the subconscious mind for wealth. If the conscious mind is the captain of your ship, the subconscious mind is the ocean it sails upon. It is vast, powerful, and often invisible, silently shaping the direction of your life. Every belief, reaction, and automatic habit that governs your relationship with money is stored there. And until you learn how to reprogram it, you'll keep sailing in circles, repeating the same financial patterns no matter how hard you try to change. Because the subconscious doesn't respond to logic or effort, it responds to emotion, repetition, and identity. Think of it this way. From the moment you were born until about the age of 7, your brain operated in a hypnotic state known as theta. In that state, your subconscious absorbed everything like a sponge, not critically, but unfiltered. The tone of your parents' voices when they talked about bills, the tension in the house when money was short, the admiration or resentment directed toward people who had wealth, all of it became your inner script. Those early experiences didn't just shape your opinions, they programmed your nervous system to associate certain emotions with money. That programming became your automatic compass, and unless it's updated, it keeps pulling you back toward what feels familiar, not what's possible. That's why so many people sabotage their own success. They set goals consciously. I want to earn more. I want financial freedom. But deep down, their subconscious whispers, you don't deserve it, or rich people are selfish, or money always causes problems. Those hidden beliefs act like invisible walls, repelling opportunities and draining motivation. You can read every book on finance, take every course, follow every strategy, but if your subconscious identity conflicts with wealth, it will always find a way to bring you back to your comfort zone. Warren Buffett once said, "The most important investment you can make is in yourself." Most people interpret that as reading or studying, but at its core, it means reprogramming the mental software that governs your behavior. Because success is not created by information, it's created by transformation. You can't outperform your self-image, you can only expand it. Neuroscience confirms this through the study of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on thought and experience. Every time you repeat a belief or visualize an outcome, you're carving neural pathways. The more you reinforce a thought emotionally, the stronger that pathway becomes. That's why affirmations work only when they're felt, not just spoken. The subconscious speaks the language of emotion, imagery, and repetition, not logic. So, to reprogram your mind for wealth, you must speak to it in its own language. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for this. Not just daydreaming, but intentional sensory-rich visualization that activates emotion. When you imagine yourself living abundantly, feeling the excitement, gratitude, and confidence of your desired reality, your brain fires the same neurons as if it were actually happening. Over time, this blurs the line between imagination and memory, and the subconscious begins to accept the new image as truth. That's when opportunities start aligning, people show up, and ideas emerge that move you closer to that imagined life. It's not magic, it's mental conditioning. Jim Carrey understood this perfectly. Long before fame, he wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered and dated it 5 years in the future. He carried that check in his wallet until, just before that date, he earned exactly that amount for Dumb and Dumber. He didn't just hope for it, he mentally rehearsed it every single day, with emotion so real that his subconscious had no choice but to find ways to make it happen. His imagination trained his mind to expect success, and expectation is the signal the universe responds to. But you don't have to be Jim Carrey to use this power. Every night before sleep, when your brain re-enters the theta state, you have a window to reprogram your subconscious. Instead of scrolling through social media or worrying about tomorrow, use that time to visualize abundance. See yourself waking up inspired, handling opportunities with confidence, receiving unexpected blessings. Feel gratitude as if it's already yours. In that relaxed state, your subconscious is most receptive. It absorbs the emotional tone of your thoughts and begins to rewrite the script of your life. Of course, visualization alone isn't enough. You must also act in alignment with your new identity. When you think, speak, and behave like the person who already has the wealth you desire, your subconscious adjusts to maintain consistency. That's called cognitive dissonance. The brain's need to make your outer reality match your inner identity. If your actions contradict your beliefs, the subconscious will sabotage progress to protect its sense of self. But if your beliefs expand and your actions follow, success becomes inevitable. Oprah Winfrey once shared that when she was broke, she still gave generously, not because she had extra, but because she wanted to stay connected to the vibration of abundance. That decision sent a signal to her subconscious. I am already wealthy. And the subconscious, faithful as ever, began to create experiences that matched that identity. You can do the same. Each time you act from abundance, even in small ways, you reinforce the neural pathways of prosperity. There's a powerful experiment that illustrates this. In neuroscience, the phrase "neurons that fire together wire together" explains how habits are formed. If you think a thought repeatedly, "I am prosperous," "I am valuable," "opportunities flow to me," and pair it with emotion, you literally sculpt your brain to make those thoughts automatic. Over time, the old patterns of lack dissolve, and abundance becomes your new default setting. That's not wishful thinking, it's neuroplastic programming. But there's another layer: forgiveness. Many people unknowingly block wealth because they carry resentment toward those who have it, or guilt over times they misused it. That emotional weight keeps the subconscious tied to the past. Forgiveness frees up that energy. It's like deleting old software that's slowing your system. When you release resentment, you make space for new blessings to flow in. The truth is, your subconscious mind is always listening. Every word, every emotion, every self-talk becomes an instruction. If you constantly say, "I can't afford that," your subconscious takes it literally and programs your perception to confirm it. But if you say, "How can I afford that?" your brain shifts into problem-solving mode. The question opens the door for creativity, opportunity, and solutions. Language is a tool for reprogramming. Use it wisely. Ultimately, reprogramming your subconscious mind for wealth is not about pretending to be rich. It's about remembering that you were never meant to live in lack. Prosperity is your natural state. Limitation is the illusion. The more you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with that truth, the faster your outer world transforms. When you master your subconscious, you no longer chase success. You attract it. You stop struggling for worthiness and begin living from it. And that's when wealth in all its forms becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Because the mind you train today becomes the reality you experience tomorrow. Topic 5. Breaking the scarcity cycle. From fear to financial flow. Scarcity is not a financial condition, it's a mental one. It's a silent virus that infects your perception, convincing you that there's never enough time, money, or opportunity. It makes you believe that success is a limited resource, that someone else's win must mean your loss. And yet, nothing could be further from the truth. The universe doesn't run on competition, it runs on creation. Scarcity is the illusion. Flow is the reality. But to experience that flow, you must first recognize how deeply scarcity has shaped your thoughts, emotions, and behavior, often without you even realizing it. Every person on this planet has, at some point, operated under the influence of scarcity thinking. You feel it when you hesitate to invest in yourself because you're afraid to lose money. You feel it when you compare your progress to someone else's. You feel it when a small setback triggers a spiral of doubt and fear. Scarcity whispers, "Be careful, don't risk, hold back." It makes you cling to the known instead of expanding into the possible. And the more you obey that voice, the smaller your world becomes. Let's look at it through neuroscience. The brain's primal function is survival. When it perceives lack, it activates the amygdala, the center of fear and reactivity. Blood flow moves away from the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for creativity and strategic decision-making. In simple terms, scarcity literally makes you less intelligent. You stop seeing opportunities and start obsessing over threats. It's why people under financial stress often make impulsive decisions, because fear hijacks logic. You cannot create wealth from the same emotional state that fears losing it. Now, contrast that with abundance. When you operate from faith, gratitude, and confidence, your nervous system relaxes. The prefrontal cortex lights up, creativity expands, and new ideas flow effortlessly. That's when solutions appear that you couldn't see before. It's not coincidence, it's physiology. The shift from fear to flow is a shift in brain chemistry, from cortisol to dopamine, from survival to creation. That's why millionaires aren't fearless. They've simply trained their minds to stay calm and creative in the face of uncertainty. Take Sarah Blakely again, founder of Spanx. She started her company with just $5,000 in savings. Everyone told her she was crazy to risk it all on an idea for footless pantyhose. But instead of shrinking in fear, she decided to play in faith. She focused not on what she lacked, but on the vision she carried. She turned her scarcity, lack of experience, lack of resources, into creative momentum. When others saw risk, she saw possibility. That's what breaks the scarcity cycle, shifting attention from fear of loss to excitement for growth. Scarcity convinces you that you must hoard. Abundance teaches you that you must circulate. Money, like blood, needs to flow to stay alive. When you hold it in fear, it stagnates. When you use it with intention, to learn, to grow, to give, it multiplies. This is one of the most misunderstood laws of prosperity. True wealth doesn't come from accumulation but from circulation. When you trust that money is energy and energy expands through movement, you start making different choices. You stop asking, "What if I lose?" and start asking, "How can I expand?" That single shift rewires everything. Look at companies like Apple or Tesla. Their founders didn't create out of fear, they created out of inspiration. They poured resources, time, and energy into visions that had no guarantee of success. And that's exactly why they succeeded. The energy of expansion is always rewarded by the universe because creation aligns with the natural flow of life. The river doesn't hold back its water, it flows. The tree doesn't hoard its fruit, it gives. Abundance follows the same principle. But to step into that flow, you must confront your fears around loss. Most people live in financial contraction because they're subconsciously trying to avoid pain. The pain of making a mistake, the pain of being judged, the pain of failing. Yet those very fears are what trap them in stagnation. Growth requires movement, and movement requires trust. The moment you start acting from faith instead of fear, you tell your subconscious, "I am safe expanding." And that's when the universe begins to open new doors. Elon Musk embodies this principle perfectly. When he sold PayPal, he invested almost all of his fortune into Tesla and SpaceX. He could have stopped there, lived comfortably forever. But he didn't. He reinvested in his vision. He risked everything again. And that's why the universe keeps rewarding him, because expansion is the language of abundance. He wasn't motivated by greed, he was driven by purpose. And purpose always transcends fear. Now, it's important to understand that abundance doesn't mean recklessness. It means trust guided by wisdom. It means knowing when to invest energy and when to pause, not out of fear, but out of clarity. The difference is emotional state. Scarcity acts from panic. Abundance acts from alignment. When your decisions come from calm confidence, your results carry that same energy. Breaking the scarcity cycle also requires rewriting your definition of success. In scarcity, success is measured by comparison. In abundance, success is measured by expansion. Every time you grow in awareness, generosity, or peace, you are becoming wealthier, regardless of what your bank balance says. Money will always follow consciousness. It's never the other way around. Here's the paradox. The less you chase wealth, the faster it finds you. When you release attachment and focus on contribution, your energy becomes magnetic. That's why so many spiritual teachers, from Deepak Chopra to Eckhart Tolle, speak about surrender, not as giving up, but as aligning with flow. The more you fight for control, the more resistance you create. The more you trust, the more opportunities begin to unfold naturally. You can begin breaking the scarcity cycle today by practicing 3 powerful shifts: awareness, gratitude, and generosity. Become aware when fear creeps in. Don't fight it, just observe it. Awareness weakens its power. Then shift into gratitude, because gratitude immediately tells your brain that you already have enough. Finally, practice generosity, not necessarily with money, but with attention, time, encouragement, ideas. The moment you give, you remind the universe that you trust its flow. Scarcity whispers, "There's not enough." Abundance replies, "There's more where that came from." And that belief becomes your self-fulfilling prophecy. When you operate from that energy long enough, something incredible happens. Money stops being the goal and becomes the byproduct. You stop chasing wealth and start channeling it. You realize that prosperity was never about accumulation but alignment. The world doesn't reward fear, it rewards flow. And when your thoughts, emotions, and actions align with the rhythm of abundance, life begins to respond with generosity. Doors open, connections appear, and opportunities seem to find you, because energetically, they always wanted to. That's when you finally understand. Abundance was never something you had to earn. It was something you had to remember. Topic 6. The energy of action. Turning mindset into manifestation. You can meditate for hours, visualize every dream in perfect detail, and repeat affirmations until your voice fades. But if you never move, nothing changes. The universe responds to energy in motion, not to idle intention. Action is the bridge between thought and manifestation, the moment when your vibration crystallizes into matter. And yet, most people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling before acting, not realizing that movement itself is what creates clarity, confidence, and momentum. There's a magnetic force that begins to operate when you take action aligned with belief. It's as if life itself starts to cooperate. You meet the right person, you stumble upon the right idea, you receive a call at just the right time. That's not luck, it's energetic alignment in motion. Thought sets the intention, emotion charges it, action completes it. All three are essential ingredients of manifestation. The reason most people stay stuck is that they separate thinking from doing. They believe that mental work and physical effort belong to different worlds, but in truth, they are one continuous field. Your thoughts produce emotion, your emotion influences energy, and that energy shapes the quality of your action. If you act from fear, you create chaos. If you act from trust, you create coherence. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to the energy behind your movement. Steve Jobs once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backward." He wasn't talking about hindsight. He was describing faith in motion. He knew that bold steps taken from conviction, even without guarantees, always create the path. When Apple launched the first iPod, it was risky, a device nobody had asked for. But Jobs acted from vision, not validation. And that's the secret of all true creators. They move before the world gives permission. There's a hidden law of success that few understand, the law of velocity. When you take action with emotional intensity and belief, you generate momentum that multiplies results exponentially. The first steps might feel small or uncertain, but once you start, inertia turns into acceleration. That's why successful entrepreneurs like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos keep experimenting, launching, iterating. They don't wait for perfection. They act and adjust. Perfection is the enemy of prosperity because it disguises fear as preparation. You must understand that your energy when you act is more important than the action itself. Two people can take the same step, one from doubt, the other from certainty, and produce completely different outcomes. The person aligned with abundance sees opportunity in every response. The one trapped in fear sees failure in every delay. Energy is the real currency of manifestation. The more aligned your internal state, the more efficient your external results. There's also a neurobiological reason for this. Action reinforces belief. Every time you take a step consistent with your desired identity, you strengthen neural pathways in the brain that confirm that belief. You teach your subconscious, "This is who I am." If you see yourself as abundant but never behave abundantly, your brain gets mixed signals and defaults to safety. But if you act like a creator, making decisions from trust, giving generously, speaking confidently, your subconscious begins to accept that identity as real. That's when reality starts to shift to match your inner conviction. Take Oprah Winfrey as an example again. When she first launched her own production company, she had no roadmap. She simply felt the inner pull to create something that gave her freedom and authenticity. The move was risky, but it was aligned with her vision. That action sent a message to the universe: "I am ready." And the universe responded. Doors opened, people appeared, opportunities multiplied. When you act from alignment, life mirrors that courage back to you. But here's what stops most people. They confuse movement with progress. They take frantic, scattered action fueled by anxiety instead of calm, inspired movement guided by clarity. True action doesn't come from desperation. It comes from flow. You're not running from something. You're moving towards something greater. The energy of flow feels light, exciting, even joyful. That's how you know you're aligned. Forced action feels heavy, tense, and full of resistance. That's how you know you're out of tune. Think of it like surfing. The surfer doesn't control the wave. They align with it. They sense the timing, the rhythm, the moment of motion. They paddle not in panic, but in partnership with the ocean. That's how action in the realm of prosperity works. You don't force outcomes, you align with them. You sense the pull of inspiration and respond before fear has time to interfere. You move with the wave of opportunity, not against it. Action is also the greatest antidote to fear. The moment you take even one small step, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of progress and motivation. That neurochemical shift breaks the paralysis of hesitation. Suddenly, your focus sharpens, your confidence rises, and new ideas flow. The act of moving forward literally rewires your brain to expect success. That's why the first step is always the hardest, because it's the step that changes your chemistry from doubt to momentum. But remember, inspired action doesn't always mean doing more. Sometimes it means doing less, removing distractions, decluttering, or saying no to things that drain your energy. Abundance requires space. You can't receive new opportunities when your calendar, your mind, or your emotions are overloaded. The energy of action includes rest, reflection, and recalibration. Stillness, when intentional, is also a form of movement. Jeff Bezos once described his decision-making process as regret minimization. He said he simply asked himself, "When I'm 80 years old, will I regret not doing this?" That question pushed him to leave a stable job and start Amazon. That single act of courage didn't come from certainty. It came from energy, the energy of expansion. That's how the millionaire mind thinks. It doesn't act because it's safe, it acts because it's aligned. So, when you feel that pull to act, to start the business, to invest, to learn, to create, don't wait for guarantees. The guarantee is in the energy you bring. When your actions carry the vibration of faith, the universe rearranges itself around your intent. Every courageous move sends a ripple through reality, summoning resources, people, and timing that align with your vibration. The hidden power of the millionaire mind isn't just that it believes, it moves. It turns belief into energy, and energy into evidence. It takes the invisible and makes it visible. So today, don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Move with trust, not tension. Act with love, not lack. And remember, every step you take in faith multiplies the energy of abundance within you. Because prosperity doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who act as if it's already theirs. That's how mindset becomes manifestation. That's how energy becomes reality. Topic 7. The quantum habit. How daily consistency rewires wealth. If mindset is the seed of prosperity, then habit is the soil that allows it to grow. Every successful person, every millionaire, visionary, or creator has mastered one thing above all: consistency. Because the truth is, success doesn't arrive through one big decision, one viral moment, or one stroke of luck. It's the compound result of hundreds of small, aligned actions repeated over time. That's what I call the quantum habit. The subtle, invisible behaviors that, when practiced daily with intention, create exponential change in your reality. You see, the universe doesn't respond to what you occasionally do. It responds to what you consistently embody. The subconscious mind learns through repetition. Each time you repeat an action, you're sending a signal to your brain and to the energetic field around you that says, "This is who I am." That's how habits become identity. And identity is destiny. You can only attract wealth at the level of who you believe yourself to be. So, if your daily habits reflect scarcity, inconsistency, or distraction, no amount of affirmation can override that signal. But if your habits reflect discipline, gratitude, and creation, even in the smallest details, the universe takes notice. Think about Warren Buffett, who still spends hours every day reading and analyzing information. He's one of the richest men on the planet, yet he keeps the same daily routine he had decades ago. Why? Because consistency keeps him calibrated to his purpose. The millionaire mind doesn't seek constant stimulation or shortcuts. It seeks rhythm, the daily flow that builds momentum. Every morning he reinforces the identity of a learner, a thinker, and an investor. That habit becomes magnetic, drawing insights, clarity, and timing into his orbit. The human brain is wired for pattern. What you do repeatedly becomes automatic, not only neurologically but energetically. The law of vibration states that what you emit continually becomes your dominant frequency. So if every day you wake up stressed, rushing, and reactive, your life will mirror that vibration. Chaos, scarcity, delay. But if you begin each day with calm gratitude, purpose, and focus, your energy becomes magnetic to abundance. The difference isn't the external world, it's the internal rhythm you broadcast into it. Let's bring in neuroscience again. Studies show that habits are formed through a loop of cue, routine, and reward. But the real power lies in the emotion attached to the habit. When you feel good while doing something, when your brain releases dopamine and associates that act with satisfaction, it locks it in faster. That's why gratitude journals, meditation, and affirmations work when done with genuine emotion. They retrain the brain to associate abundance with joy. Over time, this rewiring shifts your default mode from worry to flow. Tony Robbins often says, repetition is the mother of skill. But it's more than skill. It's the mother of transformation. Every day you repeat a thought, you strengthen its neural pathway. Every day you repeat an emotion, you solidify its frequency. Every day you repeat an action aligned with prosperity, you build a new energetic structure in your life. The quantum habit isn't about working harder, it's about working energetically smarter. It's the awareness that small, consistent steps carry quantum potential because they build momentum in the field of energy around you. Consider Jeff Bezos. Before Amazon became a global empire, he followed one simple principle: focus on what doesn't change. For him, that meant consistently improving customer experience, logistics, and innovation, day after day, for decades. While others chased trends, he mastered fundamentals. That's the essence of the quantum habit, committing to the timeless principles that compound over time. Prosperity isn't sudden, it's cumulative. One of the biggest mistakes people make is underestimating the power of small habits. They meditate for a week and quit because they don't feel different. They start a gratitude practice and stop because nothing happens. But the universe is not transactional, it's exponential. The energy you invest daily builds silently beneath the surface, like pressure forming a diamond. You might not see results immediately, but when alignment reaches critical mass, transformation happens all at once, what scientists call a quantum leap. That's why persistence is magic. Sarah Blakely once shared that she kept a notebook filled with ideas long before anyone believed in her. She made it a habit to write one new idea every day, no matter how small. That simple discipline trained her brain to expect creativity, and the universe rewarded her with billion-dollar innovation. The habit itself was a signal. I am a creator. Her daily consistency activated her quantum field of potential. To build your own quantum habits, you must connect them to emotion and purpose. Don't meditate just to calm your mind. Meditate to embody wealth consciousness. Don't journal just to write. Journal to activate gratitude. Don't read just to learn. Read to expand your frequency. When your habits are emotionally charged with intention, they stop being routines and become rituals. Rituals carry power because they fuse spirit and structure. But here's something most people overlook. Breaking bad habits doesn't come from resistance. It comes from replacement. Energy doesn't disappear. It transforms. If you stop checking your phone in the morning, replace that impulse with something that uplifts your frequency, like gratitude or visualization. If you stop complaining about money, replace it with celebrating every small gain. The brain hates voids. It loves continuity. Replacing energy with higher vibration keeps momentum alive. Consistency doesn't mean rigidity. There will be days when life feels messy, when motivation fades. That's where discipline steps in. Discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect in motion. It's saying, my vision matters more than my excuses. When you show up even on low-energy days, you strengthen your energetic integrity. The universe mirrors that integrity back with stability, reliability, and flow. The truth is, millionaires don't have superhuman habits. They have conscious habits. They know that every morning, every decision, every moment of gratitude is a vote for the reality they're creating. Over time, those votes add up and form a new identity, and that identity attracts matching results. So ask yourself, what are you voting for every day with your habits? Scarcity or abundance? Confusion or clarity? Reactivity or creation? Because every small act carries energy, and energy compounded daily becomes destiny. The quantum habit is not about doing more, it's about being more, repeatedly. When your daily actions align with your highest frequency, you stop waiting for miracles. You become one. Topic 8. The Law of Resonance. why you attract who you are. There's a mysterious yet precise law that governs everything you attract into your life: people, opportunities, relationships, even the quality of your ideas. It's called the law of resonance, and it works with absolute precision. You don't get what you want. You don't even get what you think. You attract what you are. You draw to yourself people and experiences that match the frequency of your dominant vibration, your emotions, beliefs, and energy patterns. This is why two people can live in the same city, work the same job, and yet one experiences endless flow while the other seems stuck in the same struggles. The difference isn't luck, it's resonance. Everything is energy vibrating at a certain speed. When two frequencies match, they resonate. They amplify each other. That's why when you meet someone who feels instantly familiar, or walk into a room and feel the atmosphere, you're not imagining it. You're sensing vibration. The law of resonance explains why your external world mirrors your inner state so perfectly. If you radiate fear, you'll attract people and events that confirm it. If you radiate confidence and calm, you'll magnetize relationships and opportunities that align with that energy. Life is an echo chamber of your frequency. Let's look at how this plays out in the lives of real creators. Take Oprah Winfrey again. Her energy is one of authenticity, compassion, and empowerment. And what did she attract? A global community of people seeking those exact qualities. Her vibration became a signal that the world couldn't ignore. She didn't chase influence, she embodied it. The same happens with companies. Look at Apple. Its resonance has always been innovation, simplicity, and elegance. And it attracts employees, customers, and collaborators who share that vibration. The law of resonance isn't mystical. It's magnetic alignment in action. But here's the hidden truth. Resonance cuts both ways. You don't just attract what's desirable, you also attract mirrors for your unresolved energy. If you constantly find yourself surrounded by chaos, criticism, or conflict, it's not punishment, it's feedback. The universe mirrors back what you most need to become aware of. The people who frustrate you the most are often reflections of the emotions you've suppressed. The situations that challenge you are invitations to upgrade your vibration. When you change your frequency, those patterns dissolve, not because you fought them, but because you outgrew them energetically. Neuroscience gives us another perspective. Your brain's mirror neurons fire when you observe others, meaning your nervous system literally resonates with the emotional energy of the people around you. That's why environment is destiny. Spend time with people who think abundantly, and your brain begins to mirror that pattern. Surround yourself with pessimism, and your energy begins to lower to match it. Resonance doesn't discriminate. It simply amplifies whatever frequency dominates your focus. That's why protecting your energetic environment is as crucial as managing your finances. The energy you absorb becomes the energy you emit. This is also why self-worth is the foundation of prosperity. You can't attract relationships or opportunities that respect you if deep down you don't resonate with respect for yourself. The universe will never give you more than you believe you deserve. That's not punishment, it's protection, it's alignment. Until your vibration matches abundance, receiving more would feel unsafe to your subconscious. That's why inner healing, gratitude, and emotional regulation are wealth practices. They tune your energy to the frequency of receiving. Think about Elon Musk again. Whatever your opinion of him, one thing is undeniable. His energy is conviction. His entire career resonates with certainty, boldness, and expansion. That's why he attracts investors, engineers, and innovators who match that energy. He doesn't chase belief, he radiates it. His vibration of possibility bends reality around it. That's resonance. To activate the law of resonance in your own life, start by becoming radically aware of what you broadcast. When you speak about your goals, do your words carry excitement or doubt? When you think about money, do you feel gratitude or guilt? Every emotion is a frequency, every thought, a signal. You can't hide your vibration. The universe reads it instantly. That's why pretending doesn't work. You can't fake abundance while secretly feeling unworthy. The only way to shift what you attract is to shift who you are being. Sarah Blakely once said that her success came from staying playful and curious. That's resonance. Playfulness is the vibration of ease, and ease is magnetic to flow. When you live lightly, the universe delivers heavily. When you release pressure and choose joy, opportunities multiply because your energy becomes expansive. The more you enjoy the process, the more the process rewards you. The law of resonance also explains why gratitude is such a powerful amplifier. Gratitude is the emotional signature of abundance. When you feel grateful, your frequency says, "I already have enough," and that vibration invites more experiences that match it. Gratitude closes the gap between wanting and having. It's the emotional bridge that turns desire into manifestation. But resonance requires honesty. You can't elevate your vibration while clinging to resentment, jealousy, or comparison. Those emotions broadcast scarcity. The moment you choose to release them, to bless others' success, to celebrate growth without competition, your frequency rises. Suddenly, the same world that felt heavy begins to respond differently. People treat you with more respect. Doors open more easily. Ideas flow with less effort. You didn't change the world. You changed your signal. Here's a simple truth. You don't attract what you chase. You attract what you radiate. The universe is not responding to your words. It's responding to your energy. And that's why becoming the energy of what you desire is the most powerful form of manifestation. Want love? Be love. Want wealth? Feel abundant. Want peace? Embody calm. Every desire is already vibrating at a certain frequency. Your job is to match it. The law of resonance reminds us that prosperity is not something you pursue. It's something you tune into. The moment your inner state matches the frequency of the reality you desire, it must appear. It's not magic, it's physics. So, if you want to attract extraordinary success, stop asking, "How do I get it?" and start asking, "How do I become it?" Because the universe always mirrors who you are, not what you say. And once your energy resonates with abundance, you'll realize that what you've been chasing has been trying to reach you all along. Topic 9. The prosperity identity. Becoming the person. Wealth is looking for. Wealth is not chasing you. It's waiting for you to become the version of yourself who can hold it. That's the hidden key behind every story of transformation. Wealth doesn't respond to effort. It responds to identity. You don't manifest what you wish for. You manifest who you are. The millionaire mind is not about money first. It's about self-concept. Because the truth is, you will never outperform your self-image. You can only rise to the level of who you believe yourself to be. From the moment you wake up, your identity dictates every choice. What you eat, how you think, the conversations you entertain, and how you respond to opportunity. Most people are trapped in an invisible identity loop, repeating the same habits because deep down they believe, "This is just who I am." That belief is the root code of all outcomes. If you see yourself as someone who always struggles, who never catches a break, who must work 10 times harder than others, your subconscious will ensure reality matches that story. But when you begin to see yourself as someone destined for expansion, capable of prosperity, and worthy of ease, life begins to rearrange itself to match your new frequency. Neuroscience shows us why. The brain has something called the default mode network, a pattern of neural activity that maintains your sense of self. It's the part of you that says, "I am this kind of person." When you consciously change that narrative, through visualization, affirmations, or new experiences, you disrupt that network. Over time, your brain rewires itself to support the new identity. That's why acting as if works, not because you're pretending, but because you're training your nervous system to accept a new version of reality as normal. Think of Jim Carrey again. Before fame, he didn't just dream of being a successful actor, he became one internally. He drove up to the Hollywood Hills every night, looked at the city lights and said, "Everyone wants to work with me. I'm a great actor. I have stories to tell." He wasn't fantasizing. He was embodying the identity before the evidence appeared. When he finally achieved that success, it wasn't a surprise to him. It was a match. He had already lived it mentally and emotionally. This is what I call prosperity identity alignment. It's the process of becoming the person that the wealth you desire can recognize. Because money doesn't flow to confusion, it flows to clarity. If your energy says, "I'm not sure who I am or what I deserve," the universe can't deliver abundance with precision. But when you radiate certainty, not arrogance, but grounded conviction, opportunities begin to find you. Oprah Winfrey once said, "You don't get in life what you want, you get what you believe." She built her empire not by chasing success, but by aligning her identity with purpose. Her self-image was never a talk show host. It was a teacher, a vessel for truth. That identity became the foundation for her influence, wealth, and longevity. Because when your identity is built on contribution and service, the universe trusts you with abundance. Most people try to change their circumstances without changing their identity. They start businesses with the mindset of employees. They try to build wealth while secretly believing they're unworthy of it. They say, "I want financial freedom," but their identity vibrates with fear, guilt, or imposter syndrome. The subconscious mind will always choose familiarity over growth. So, unless you consciously rewrite your self-image, you'll unconsciously recreate your past, no matter how many new opportunities appear. The simplest way to shift identity is to act in alignment with your desired self before you feel ready. The mind learns by evidence. Every time you take a step consistent with your future self, you create proof, and that proof reinforces belief. You begin to trust yourself again. Confidence grows not from perfection, but from integrity, doing what your highest self would do even when your old self resists. That's how identity crystallizes into reality. Warren Buffett's identity is another perfect example. He doesn't see himself as a rich man. He sees himself as a rational investor who makes calm decisions. That identity is what keeps him wealthy. It's not the money, it's the emotional consistency that money recognizes and trusts. The prosperity identity is steady, focused, and value-driven. It's not reactive. It doesn't chase trends. It builds from vision and discipline. You can start reshaping your identity right now through awareness and language. The words you use to describe yourself are commands to your subconscious. When you say, "I'm terrible with money," your mind accepts that as a fact and filters reality accordingly. But if you begin saying, "I'm learning to master money," your brain opens to possibility. When you say, "I'm abundant," your nervous system starts looking for evidence to confirm it. Your language programs your life. Speak deliberately. The quantum truth is that your identity emits a frequency that attracts everything that belongs to it. That's why wealthy people tend to meet each other, why creative people find creative circles, why victims find more situations to feel victimized by. It's all resonance. To change your outer world, you must first graduate from your old identity. You can't hold on to your past and expect a future of expansion, but this transformation doesn't require force. It requires decision. The moment you decide, "This is who I am now," and align your habits, posture, tone, and energy with that decision, the old identity begins to dissolve. Life starts reorganizing itself around your new vibration. People who no longer match your frequency fade away, replaced by new connections that elevate you. Opportunities begin to flow effortlessly because your energy has become congruent with prosperity. Sarah Blakely once said, "My mindset is my greatest asset." Notice she didn't say product or strategy. Her identity as a creator, problem solver, and optimist built the foundation for every opportunity that came her way. Her wealth was the side effect of her self-concept. That's the true secret behind lasting success. When your identity becomes abundance, wealth stops being something you pursue. It becomes something that expresses itself through you, because prosperity isn't found outside of you. It's revealed through the version of you that remembers who you've always been: limitless, creative, and worthy of everything good. You don't need to chase the life you want. You need to become the person that life has been waiting to meet. Topic 10. The Prosperity Code: Living in Alignment with Abundance. Everything we've explored in this journey leads to one realization: prosperity isn't something you chase, it's something you tune into. It's not a race, not a competition, not a prize waiting at the end of your struggle. Prosperity is a frequency, and the code to access it has been within you all along. You were never meant to live in scarcity, fear, or endless striving. You were meant to remember who you are: a creator, a transmitter of abundance, a conscious architect of reality. The hidden power of the millionaire mind is not about learning something new. It's about remembering what your soul has always known: that everything you desire already exists in the field of infinite possibility, waiting for your vibration to align with it. When you live in alignment with abundance, you stop forcing and start flowing. You no longer wake up anxious about what might go wrong. You wake up curious about what will unfold right. You stop asking when and start trusting now. But that's the ultimate freedom: to live in harmony with life instead of resistance to it. Because the truth is, the universe has never been against you. It has always been responding to you. Every thought, emotion, and action you've ever emitted has been mirrored back in precise detail. Change the signal, and the reflection transforms. The prosperity code is simple, yet profound. It's not a secret formula, but a state of being. It begins with awareness, recognizing that your thoughts are creative instruments. It deepens with emotion, learning to feel abundance before seeing it. It expands with consistency, aligning your daily habits with the frequency of success. And it culminates in trust, the unshakable knowing that you are supported, guided, and connected to something infinitely intelligent. When all these layers merge, your life begins to operate on a different frequency, a frequency where coincidences replace struggle, where intuition replaces fear, and where wealth becomes the natural outcome of alignment. This is the space where true creators live. Elon Musk visualizing possibilities that others call impossible. Oprah Winfrey transforming personal wounds into platforms for healing. Sarah Blakely turning rejection into innovation. None of them waited for certainty. They became certain. They encoded abundance into their identity through mindset, emotion, and daily alignment until the world had no choice but to reflect it. Their success wasn't luck, it was resonance. They lived the prosperity code before they ever realized its name. And now, it's your turn. The same energy that built empires, healed lives, and turned ideas into legacies flows through you. It's in your breath, your heartbeat, your consciousness. Every time you choose gratitude over fear, vision over doubt, contribution over comparison, you're activating that code. Every time you act from trust instead of hesitation, you're broadcasting the frequency of abundance. The universe doesn't speak words, it speaks energy. And your energy, when coherent, becomes the language of miracles. So, what does it mean to live in alignment with abundance? It means recognizing that life is happening for you, not to you. It means trusting that even the challenges are calibrations, experiences guiding you back into coherence. It means releasing control, but not responsibility. It means embodying wealth, not waiting for it. It means walking through life with the quiet confidence that everything you need is already within you. Because it is. This alignment doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. The richest lives are not built by those who never stumble, but by those who never stop realigning. Every morning is a reset. Every decision an opportunity to choose faith over fear, gratitude over complaint, purpose over distraction. When you live this way, prosperity stops being an external goal and becomes an internal rhythm, a harmony that plays through every conversation, every project, every breath. The prosperity code is not something to learn, it's something to live. It's choosing abundance in your thoughts, wealth in your emotions, generosity in your actions, and trust in your timing. It's the moment you stop chasing success and start embodying it. That's when everything changes, not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you become aligned. Imagine living from that state every day, calm, creative, magnetic. You wake up and ideas flow. People are drawn to your energy. Money circulates easily because you're no longer holding it in fear. You're no longer reacting to life. You're co-creating with it. That is the essence of the prosperity code, the fusion of consciousness and creation, of mindset and motion, of energy and expression. And once you live from that frequency, you realize something profound. Prosperity was never about what you could get. It was always about who you could become. You are not learning how to be abundant. You are remembering that you already are. If this message resonated with you, if you felt that shift, that inner spark awakening as you listened, then this is your sign to keep going. Don't let this energy fade. Anchor it. Take one step today that reflects your abundance. And before you go, if this video inspired you, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to awaken their own prosperity code. Leave a comment below sharing what abundance means to you, because your words might be the seed that awakens someone else's journey. Remember, prosperity isn't something outside of you. It's your natural state, waiting for you to live it, breathe it, and become it. You are the prosperity code.